Hey YouTube, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. In this video, I will check and review the new Furitek Ultimate Brushless Conversion Kit for the SCX24, which comes with the Furitek Komodo motor, 1400 kV, 2204 motor, and gears, pinion, and a motor mount. And much more important, what I did already want to do for a month now, I will check the RPM and show you the RPM jump at very low throttle input of the Furitek ESCs with the brushless motors. And therefore, and this is much more important for me than this motor, I received a spare Furitek Lizard ESC. Furitek sent this conversion kit for free to me. Thanks for this, but I didn't want it for free. I did want to pay for it. However, I have to give a big shout out and a big thank you to Furitek customer support. Not because of sending this combo to me, but because of after finally 3 months sending this Furitek Lizard to me as a replacement part. I did already buy 2 Furitek Lizard ESCs more than 3 months ago from Asia Tees, and in that time I also bought the Surpass Hobby Outrunner motor. I never intended to use this Outrunner motor in an SCX24. It's much too large for me, but it's cheap. I wanted to check the RPMs. I bought 2 Rocket Surpass Rocket 2500 kV in-runner motors, tiny ones. I hope to be able to use them, but they do not work well with the Furitek ESCs. Those are 2-pole in-runners, and it seems you need 4-pole brushless motors so that you have this awesome low speed behavior. So spent quite a bit of money in vain, but I bought 2 Lizard ESCs, and brand new ESC. I tried to update the firmware as recommended, very first usage, and connected it to the app, and update started and stopped, froze at 4 or 6%, whatever, can't remember anymore. Tried to go back, nothing worked anymore. The Bluetooth didn't work anymore either, and so I wrote to Furitek customer service. Tony is the guy from Furitek, super nice, super fast, super helpful, and asked what I could do, because of course what every one of you wanted to see, I am not so interested in the brushless motors. I wanted to compare those Furitek ESCs already 3 months ago with the awesome Modellbauregler DE ESCs, the brushed ESCs. I showed you the ES12-6RW and the ES12-15RW, but 3 months ago, and still couldn't do it because my ESCs didn't work. So I wrote to Furitek customer support and asked if I could repair it. Tony responded immediately, told me no, I will not be able to repair the ESC probably, and the Bluetooth. Asia Tees should send me a replacement for free, and he will take care of this. He wanted me to send the invoice to him from Asia Tees. I did, and he sent the request to Asia Tees. 1 or 2 days later I got the CC. So super nice from Furitek and Tony. And then I waited 2-3 weeks, don't know exactly anymore. After 3 weeks maybe, I wrote to Tony again. I didn't hear anything from Asia Tees so far, and why, I don't understand this. He promised he will ask them again, and then he answered, okay, I have asked Asia Tees again and they will do it. Again, I waited for weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, don't know, nothing happened. I wrote again to Tony. He responded immediately, apologized, said to me, please send me your invoice again and I will ask again. And okay, and again, probably you can already think, nothing happened. So I guess 2.5 months had gone since I had bought my 2 lizards and nothing had happened. And then Tony said, okay, they, Furitek from Vietnam, will send a spare Lizard ESC, including Bluetooth, for free as a replacement to me. And they finally did. And he also asked me if I'm interested in this conversion kit and the new Furitek Komodo motor. And I said, not really. And I don't want it for free because I for sure will not give a good review. I really didn't like the first reviews of all this Furitek stuff because those were more promotional videos, in my opinion, which did hide. And I don't think it was accidentally. They did hide the downsides. And I told Tony, but I for sure I will do a review of the ESC and compare it with brushed motors to the Modellbauregler ESCs, and my review will be totally neutral. I will not hide anything. I will for sure talk about the RPM jump. And he responded, no, that's okay. Do what you want, but we will send it for free to you. And if you find any downsides, this will only help us to improve our products. So big shout out for Furitek because of this. And of course, thank you for the motor and the conversion kit. But honestly, I prefer to pay for my stuff and to do what I want then with this. And what will you see now? I will assemble the conversion kit, but this should be super easy. I will show it to you. For this, I have bought a transmission set for the SCX24 AX131608 because I do have only two SCX24s. This one is nearly stock, but with the ES1216RW ESC, I don't want to lose this. And this one is my tribute to our athletes, still not finished, and I didn't want to lose those two transmissions, so I bought a transmission kit, and I don't know if I will use it in an SCX24 or maybe in another car. But Horizon Hobby XL, thank you. 20 euros. 20 euros for this. That's nearly 24 US dollars. So they know how to make money. I do have a ton of those spare parts, gears and cases and transmissions for the Tiny Hobby Plus and RGT crawlers, and this stuff is nearly, it's super cheap. I don't know, 2, 3, $1, nearly nothing. And Horizon Hobby XL, 20 euros. Thank you, but I supported the local dealers with this. So now let's assemble. Let's assemble this transmission with the Furitek conversion kit. And this XL transmission seems to be already assembled, so I guess I don't have to assemble anything. Don't need this, but probably the nut for spur gear. That's the metal spur gear of the Furitek kit. So you see there's a big difference, different module, much larger teeth than the original SCX24. I won't count the teeth. So you have to remove the metal plate of the SCX24 gears and exchange it by the Furitek mount. So exchanged the metal plate of the XL transmission by the new motor mount from Furitek. So spur gear needs a nut, and I assume the longer side should be inside, so that way Spurky mounted nicely. For the pinion, for the grab screw of the pinion gear, you will need a 1.5 millimeter hex, no 1.3 as needed for most other screws in the SCX24, and this should be mounted that way. Okay, 12 millimeter hex screw. M3, you will need 2 millimeter hex screwdrivers for those. As always, you are used to those screws by the 1 to 10th crawlers. And now let's check gear mesh. It's a little bit difficult here to see. No, it's easy to see. Hope even you can see it. So that's super nice to adjust. Come on. Seems to run nicely and smooth that way. Guess with those press gears you shouldn't use any grease. Never totally sure about this. So this seems to run smooth and nicely. What we should also point out, this transmission now is of course with a huge motor, much larger than the original SCX24 transmission and motor. This one does have the barrage motor, and the Furitek transmission or the Furitek motor has to be mounted that way, so you will not be able to use the original electronics plate. Normally here that's a metal one, you can't even cut it. In my more original one, different ESC here inside, everything else stock. So check it out if you want to mount it as it is originally mounted. You will have to cut quite a bit of the electronics parts tray here where the receiver unit sits. So you have to find a different place for this, and furthermore shock mounts you will have to find. Could work. No, shock mounts will lose one screw too, so they will need something different. So it's not so super easy, not a super easy swap out. If you would mount it in opposite direction, you probably won't do this because you don't want to have all the weight on the back side. You will lose a part of the tray. You have to turn everything. Here should work too, but then you have a lot of weight on the back side, and it's easier probably to find a further place for the battery. But be aware of this, so it's not a simple swap out. You will also have to find further locations for electronics, maybe for shock mounts, make some mods and all this. So not super easy, but super cool of course. Huge motor. Check the motor compared to the original SCX24 motor. And now let's check how this works. Therefore I will use my fly scan over also for the tests later. You see, super slow, and then immediately much faster, but it seems that I did not. Okay. Pinion is loose, I didn't mount it strong enough, but that's not really important for now. Because we want to measure the RPMs. And therefore we won't need the gearbox. It has a flat side, the axle of the Furitek Komodo. Yeah, and I didn't screw the scrap screw. I did not screw the grab screw in firmly enough. Super slow, and immediately super fast. And that's what we will check. But before I will connect it to the app and calibrate throttle. Yes, I have to turn Bluetooth on. Come on. Furitek. And you see it's connected. And I go forward and the point showing that throttle position goes reverse. That's why I have to make throttle reverse on my Noble. But first, let's calibrate the throttle. Where is it? Throttle here, neutral punch. Where is it? Calibrate. Do you want to start calibration? Yes. Okay. Max speed. Okay. And max brake. Okay, 2 beeps. Yes, I want to save it. Come on, and now I'm interested if it made even come on for the telemetry. Oh, how nice is this? Check this out. Now throttle goes to correct direction. It did even reverse the motor direction. How can you see this? That way. Now I go forward and it goes forward and I go backwards. Super nice app. So I didn't have to do it on my radio. And I won't change anything else now. So I will let stock settings. I will let normal punch 3, neutral brake 2, low speed 10, and I will measure the RPMs and make a graph. And therefore I will use this super cheap, but works quite nicely, at least at higher RPMs, RPM meter. That's not my Heli tachometer, which needs lights. This is the stuff with a kind of infrared, not super cheap stuff, but totally sufficient for our needs here. And how will we do this? I made a mount, so I will mount the motor on this motor mount and put that's a servo arm or a servo plate, to the axle. It works. Correct diameter. No, I will destroy my smartphone that way. And then we will measure the throttle speed with the trim steps of the FlySky Noble. You see this is trim and it has 120 steps. I was not at center point, have to make calibration again, and it goes up to 120 in 60 steps, so we can check the whole low speed behavior. And I will write up the RPMs, and then we will show you a graph and you will exactly see how the low speed behavior is at very low throttle input, up to 60 trim steps, 120 plus, forward and minus. But first I will do calibration again. Calibrate here. Yes, I want to start calibration. Zero speed, okay. Max speed, okay. And max brake, okay. Yes. So now let's make the RPM measurements, and after this I will make the same measurements with the Surpass Hobby 1400 kV Outrunner. This motor seems to be nearly exactly the same with a different case, but we will see if throttle response and RPMs are the same too. And then I can already tell you now it's not possible to avoid this RPM jump, this immediate RPM jump. You will see it in the first, but then I will play around a little bit. I will set max reverse to 102 now before testing. That's what we want to see. And so I will do the first tests now with the stock settings like here. And after this I will change punch 1 to 10, maybe to 10, and neutral brake is not. Low speed is already maximum. We want low speed, so I will change punch to 10 and then make another RPM measurement. But first let's test it in absolutely stock settings, only reverse 100%. Let's make the graph, then let's compare it. Let's compare the Komodo with the Surpass motor. Then I will check the Komodo with different settings. I will show you when I start the measurements, punch 10, and maybe I will also change throttle curve. It should be possible to change something here a little bit. And finally, I will also test the Furitek Komodo motor with a normal super cheap basher ESC 20 amp brushless, and we will compare how the motor responds to a normal ESC and how it responds to those awesome Furitek brushless ESCs with this awesome low speed behavior. So let's start this. Okay, RPM measurements. Guys, I will show the measurements and the results in a part 2, maybe even a part 3 of this video. During editing I found the video is already again 25 minutes. I'm unable to do short videos, but I don't want to make a further 1 or 1.5 hours video. And so check for part 2, will be up very soon. Results are super interesting, and I will show all the measurements in graphs and explain all the stuff. Thanks for watching this video so far. Hope to see you in the next video. Part 2 will be much more interesting than part 1. So see you. I'll be back.